Hi, I'm Margarita, and I'm going to be working on this quilt today. I honestly believe that every quilt has a story, and this quilt is not my quilt, but it has a heck of a story. And I'm going to do this video in two parts. I'd like to tell you the story about Penny's quilt, and then the second video, because I can't fit it all together in one, I'm going to be machine quilting this quilt, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to do it, and I'll take some clips while I'm working at the sewing machine, and at the very end of the second part you will see this gorgeous quilt all machine quilted. So I would like to share with you the story of this quilt. I have a friend, Penny. She's one of the best friends in the whole world. It's hard to describe how wonderful a gal she is, and we have worked together and been friends for years and years. And I got into quilting and I met Trish, and this quilt was actually made by Trish Stewart, and I'll tell you more about her and of the materials and stuff like that at the end of the second video. I started helping Trish, who is a quilt book author and a designer and a quilt artist. I started being her long arm quilter, her machine quilter, and machine quilting her quilts, and eventually I went with her to Quilt Market, which was like, yay, I loved it. I worked in her booth with her. We had a wonderful time. And the year that Trish introduced this coloring book that she has, Penny went with me because she had started getting into quilting too. So the three of us, Trish, Penny, and me, were all together. We went to work in Trish's booth and in Kansas City. Quilt Market. Now, Penny's from Alaska, I'm from Alaska. Trish at that time was from Alaska. She lives in Texas now. We all flew to Kansas City to do this, and we were so excited, so thrilled. The very first day of Quilt Market, we had ladies lined up 3 deep to watch us give the demo on coloring and listen to the spiel and sign up and buy Trish's books, and we just had a fantastic time. And went back to the hotel room. We're totally exhausted. And I wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning because Penny woke me up. And she woke me up by saying she's really sick. And it was so scary. It was so scary because Penny she's strong. She's always been stronger than me, and I'm pretty strong. And she was really, really very sick. She said, I need to go to the hospital. And I just about choked because it was unbelievable that she could be feeling that bad. Here we are in a strange town. Luckily our hotel was very near the hospital, and we got her there immediately, and of course things just went from bad to worse. She ended up staying in the hospital several weeks. She went through an operation, and it was a very trying time for her. Luckily her husband was visiting. He went with us to Kansas City, but he went off to visit family on his own. He was able to come back. But we were supposed to be there helping Trish, and Penny, poor Penny was, I mean, I just thought at death's door. We didn't know what was wrong. She definitely got the treatment that she needed. And we're so grateful for that. But it was trauma to the umpteenth degree. We left Penny. The next day I helped Trish with her booth, went back to the hospital, and that just kind of became the routine for a few days. Go to see Penny in the morning, and she'd been operated on. She was in recovery, and that was good. Things were going well. Work with Trish at Quilt Market during the day, and then go back to the hospital at night. But we had to leave. We're supposed to go home from Alaska. I was supposed to go back to work. Penny had to go back to work, and we couldn't. And all of Penny's family was in Alaska. I had to go back and tell them why I wasn't bringing Penny home. So that just added to the trauma. Before we left, Penny, of course, was in recovery. She was okay. Everybody knew she was going to be okay. It was just a matter of, after a severe operation like that, you have to stay in the hospital and recover. And so I brought her magazines and things from Quilt Market, and Trish said, you know, Penny, what can I do to make this up to you? Because you know, she came along to do this for Trish, and all of a sudden, you know, her whole life fell apart. And Penny said, I want a quilt. She barely talked. And Trish said, you want a quilt? And Penny said, yes, I want one of your quilts. She'd been watching Trish draw and talk about her book and her technique for that whole first day at Quilt Market, and she wanted one. And of course they're gorgeous. Trish does beautiful work, and so of course Trish whipped this up for Penny. She signed it. I'm not going to focus on the date because I've promised to machine quilt this for Penny years ago. I've been, to be honest with you, I've been frightened to death. This quilt has a lot of emotion behind it, and we've been through some storms since then, all of us, and difficulties, and so that's over, and it's time to do something really wonderful and cool. I got a call today, believe it or not, at work, and guess who it was? Penny. I had already pulled this out. I had it all, I had a design drawn out, I had everything, and I said, Friday night is the night I'm going to do Penny's quilt. I'm not doing anything until Penny's quilt is done. Friday morning, Penny calls me. I haven't heard from her for months. So we had a wonderful visit today. I told her, she came up to my studio and she saw her quilt hanging on the wall. And I said, Penny, tomorrow your quilt is going to be done. And she was thrilled. So I showed her what I had in mind. I'm going to show you. So here's my plan. I've drawn it out. I've got this whiteboard, and I've kind of framed in a little bit like the quilt design. And I'd like to show you what I have planned. And I showed it to Penny and she said it's okay. So here's my little marker, and this is the border. Now I always start in the center. I'm going to do some stitch in the ditch right along here just to secure it. Okay, so stitch in the ditch here. Now I'm going to start in the center with the floor area, and Penny wants something shiny, she said. So I bought some metallic threads that I'm going to use, and I'll get a close-up on those so you can see that, okay? I'm just going to do just a general stipple with a variegated metallic here, and crossing lines if I feel like it, because you know what? It's okay to cross the lines when you're stippling. Take my word for that, okay? Then in the vase, I'll probably just do a little bit of straight, you know, just to give it some texture. The same thing with the hanky hanging down here. Just a little bit of vertical stipple, give it some texture, maybe with a silver metallic or like a shiny white thread. Then I'll come out into this area, just do a general overall stipple just to tack it down, because you don't want your quilting to be unbalanced. It'll lead to puckering if you do that, okay? So we've got to balance it out with a little bit of quilting everywhere. All right, so I'll be doing that. Then the border, check out this fabric. I love the fact that this is sort of a linear look, whereas this is kind of a splashy overall look. A little bit of linear here and here, but mostly your eye goes right here, and it's going to have stippling and lots of wild colors. It's just gorgeous. But very linear here, and Penny chose this border. She put this on herself, so I'm going to stick with that. I'm known for putting feathers on almost everything when I machine quilt it. I'm not going to do that this time. I like this too much to do that. I'm actually going to do a design, and it's just going to be very linear, making this, you know, shape of squares and straight lines, going any direction, and just follow that down all the way around the whole border, okay? Just making squares and lines, and then it'll be done! Done! And Penny can take it home with her tomorrow! Can you tell I'm happy? So now you have the plan. I'm so thrilled. I'm so happy. I'm going to be happy to give Penny her quilt. I'm going to be happy to be machine quilting again. And most of all, I'm going to be happy because I will know that this project is done and it's okay to move on to something else now.